had respected though.
But I wouldn't respect it from a place of you should have never made a decision in the first place.
But if you don't make the decision, what do you do then?
Say that I made the wrong decision. I apologize.
And I'm
just
not
know
going
I'm
to
not going to
touch
pursue you.
But that's kind of what he was doing.
No.
So what's going on, guys?
So,
it's me. No, that's not what I was saying.
No. So what? It's me, Haiti Yoni, and it's your girl, Jody.
All right. So what's going on, guys?
So what?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Haiti, it hasn't been that long.
Leave it in. It's me, Haiti Leone.
And it's your girl, Jojo Renee, and you are tuned into episode 61 of Bite the Bullet podcast. Welcome. The script has been jumbled up, but we made it, guys.
I feel like it's been a while for some reason.
It ain't that
know.
long.
No.
I feel like the while between all of our Ghana St. Martin was longer. For sure. Because that was
Not really.
Yeah, that was 3 weeks. Last time we filmed was
This
what?
was also 3 weeks.
When last we filmed?
Like 3 weeks ago.
That was that long ago?
I've been back 3 weeks. Exact.
At school.
I've been exactly back 3 weeks on a Sunday.
Oh!
Yes, it's like literally the same amount of time.
Well, how you doing to those 3 weeks?
I good. I feel like, but we've been saying that, I don't know, it's given summer. Summer is really about to come. I mean,
I walked home shivering a little bit yesterday, but that was my fault. That was my fault.
literally summer on its way now.
Yeah, bye. Sun shining.
Yeah. Bye, good. And you?
Yeah. You want to talk about your 75 hour?
No.
Oh, never mind. Nobody. I dying all your business. Join the Patreon to find out.
Yeah.
I'm good. I am excited about summer. Excited about traveling. Excited about life. Ooh, side note, I always know I have a hack. I download this app. They ain't sponsoring us, but sponsor me. And I will say the name because you should use it. It's called Opal. And it locks you out of certain apps. So like you could set different sessions. So I have my downtime. I have my work block 1 and work block 2. And then I have my morning focus. Downtime is at night before I go to bed. Work blocks is in the day, of course. And then the morning focus is when I wake up. So from like 6:30 to 9 a.m., I'm locked out of like a lot of social apps, my puzzle app because I kind of get addicted to it, and any shopping apps. And then all of those apps apply to all the different times. And you could set rules. So you can make it easy, which is like when you go to try to get a break, you have to take a deep breath for 5 seconds. You can make it medium. You have to take a deep breath for 30 seconds so they check and like reflect if you really want to do this. And then you can make it hard where you can't take a break. Like you can't leave early. You can't take a break. And I'm not going to lie, it's a good addition if you're really trying to monitor or also reduce your screen time. I wouldn't say my screen time was wild, but it was too much for my liking in a sense of like, yeah.
What's your average? Why your average screen time?
So it depends on the week. It could be 4 hours. It could be 5.
That's why it was before this app?
Per week?
Yeah, guys.
What you didn't like about this?
Oh. But if you spend an average of 3 hours on your phone screen time, by the time you die, you spent 15 years on your phone.
Yeah, but Jody, people always have average 9-10 hours.
I know, but now these
like
people could download the app.
But 4-5 hours is really healthy.
No,
Yes,
it is not. It's just healthy compared
yes.
to the trash that we are experiencing.
Yes, because I feel like nowadays, because that counting what FaceTimes, but then I know you just being FaceTime.
Yeah, but I just be on FaceTime. I'm on my laptop, so I could be more aware of the monitoring.
I guess
hours.
where those 4 hours and 5 hours of school?
Instagram and TikTok.
Okay.
And the puzzle app.
Okay.
The puzzle
so
app
you want to bring it on to 1 hour?
No, like 2 hours.
Okay.
For me, 2 hours would be ideal. Because when I was reading Akhtar, 2 hours was easy. Because I was just so into the book. But also, I'm going to get a dumb phone eventually. If somebody want to gift it to me, it's only 70 euros.
I saw a girl on TikTok recently buy a BlackBerry.
Yeah? Oh, I
Ship
saw
a
that.
BlackBerry.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I want to get a Nokia Flip. Because I want to be able to...
Flip
and
it.
only certain people going to have my number. But yeah, for me, I really just in this place of... I've always been like that. I've always been like, okay, I want to be more present in like nature and life. But at the same time, I'm aware of like the climate we're in. So I understand that I'm a victim to like doom scrolling or just social media, consumerism, whatever. But I really am trying to get back into being as human as possible, if that makes sense. Because I was even listening to a TED Talk and they was mentioning how we don't have our own thoughts anymore. And we knew this from when we look at comments. But now I also feel like it just applies to what I consume. Like I just... Love Island. As soon as Love Island finished, I go into TikTok to see the debriefs because I want to either have people validate what I thought about the episode or hear what they think about the episode, which influences what I think. And there's so many things of like, you don't know what you're walking into when you go on social media. So you get so many influences and I'm just trying to reduce that.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
Yes. Yeah. And there's I feel like nowadays though you can't control what you see. So I just see. I don't want to see it though. But I just go and talk because I wasn't even watch Love Island this year. I was like, I'm gonna get on.
I will never stop.
No, but then Joy was like, you need to start watching the US version. So I went watch it, and then we'll just be there going about it. But yeah, today's episode though
is brought to you by none other than Tamleo books.
Yes. We wanted to highlight this book today, which is called It Is Not Always About You, which I mean, the title kind of explains.
Well, to be honest, when I read the book, I didn't expect it to go the way it went.
No.
Because essentially the book is about Nilka and her journey of like...
That sounds so Dutch and Frisian.
Nilka. I know. Miss Tamleo, where you get that name from? Because Nilka sounds very Nederlands.
It sounds very Frisian, to be honest. I have some Ninkas in my class.
And they always went to China. Every Ninka I know has been to China. Somebody in the comments confirm this. I'm telling you, there's a Ninka in Sabre. She went to China. I used to work, when I work at Stradivarius, there was a Ninka and she had to let everybody know she went to China because she could speak a bit Mandarin.
Okay.
But anyways, Nilka, she's really trying to navigate her life through like self-doubt, but also getting over a reputation that people keep reminding her that she has, which is regards to like how she handles her emotions because she has a short temper. And she has the support of Grandma Vivian. And I love Grandma Vivian because she just like, you know, be kind, but understand that people have stuff going on in their lives. So how they respond to you is not personal. And side note, big up Tamleo books because I'm reading the 4 Agreements. That's also part of the book. So it's kind of nice to see how that is a case of like for kids, they get to get these lessons from these books that accommodate them. That's also in books that are foundational for adults. Yeah. Because the 4 Agreements is like a big...
What you say always also have?
To not take anything personal. Oh. That's one of the agreements. Yeah. And in the book, Grandma Vivian was like, don't take anything personal.
Yeah. But I think you at that age, you have such a hard time doing that. Because I have this one... and I was talking with my class. But like that is one girl, right? Like, I love her to death. Like, to the point where she was like, we just have this bond. And every time these 2 boys are always talking about everybody in the class, but I just tell her, like, why are you taking it on? She's yeah, but they're talking about my dress today. I say, so I like continue living your life, leave them over there talking. But she was like, but I like that she has self-awareness. And she's be like, yeah, but I can't leave them just over there talking to me, talking about me.
That's his case. But it's a thing of like, we can, it's just difficult because we are human at the end of the day. Guess, and there's certain things we need to unlearn because it's a case of like society has built up to now. You are always judged and now it's even worse. Yeah. So I feel like for kids it's 10 times worse. Because I now gonna lie, for us, we had it a bit easy because we had BlackBerry and stuff like that. Where it's like we get judged in person, which is still shitty, but it was less intense because now they get judged online and in person. So I mean, you carry that.
Zoe, like the generation of today, I don't know. I see this lady's talking about like raising a kid in today's society and everything they have going on. I think it's 10 times harder for sure. Yeah. But I still think like you need to learn to not. I guess the conversations you're having with your kids or whatever, you need to let them know to not take everything personal. I get it's harder.
I literally went to dinner with a friend recently and I was telling her, because we was talking about kids and I told her, like, I've been on the fence with kids, but I've always known I wanted kids, but now it's like I'm in limbo of wanting them and not wanting them. And I told her mainly from a place of growing up, I knew that my parents had much more influence than the parents today have. From a place of... we come home, we get that foundation of the discipline and whatever. We go to school, we get that foundation of discipline. Yeah. And then you have those little influences that come from your friends, that come from just your surroundings. now my child is going to be influenced by the internet. My child is going to be looking to ChatGPT for stuff. That's my main concern. I'm sorry. I do not want my child to grow up dependent. I feel like
you could do what my father used to do, just lock us out to everything. Like
they're going to find, I feel like kids, then my child going to probably become a hacker. You understand?
Mean, at school, a lot of schools just ban certain things. ChatGPT is not one of those things because at this point they're trying to really involve it into education.
Because at this point it's not going anywhere.
No. But I mean, like at home you could.
It's true. It's just, I just feel like my influence is much less. And in having that influence be much less, but also having a world where kids vape and where there's just a lot of things where that is what my child could potentially be surrounded by. I mean, I always say when I get a family, it would probably be in like Ghana or the Caribbean. So I don't think it's as apparent there. Because I don't go say about so I see kids vaping. You let me know if I'm wrong. But in Western countries, it is a case. And I'm scared it would trickle down into...
That's why I'd always be like, I'm so scared to have my kids up here. Like, because they're exposed to so much things and the access they have to so much things. And at the same time, I just wonder if like, okay, but that does not mean like I scared of them being exposed to the world. Yeah. In a way, but I also feel like we know how the world set up. So it's like, I wouldn't want them exposed to certain things at this early on. I feel like how we had it when we came here at a certain age and we done how to establish who we was before coming here was a healthy way versus them. Like, the fact that kids know about this Diddy case at 11, 12, I mean, you could talk about it, but it's the fact that they just they don't grasp the seriousness of it or whatever.
Things become, like I said, desensitized.
Yeah. Which we could talk about this because one of the things I wanted to talk about in the book was the lying too and like the friendship and how she had expect her friend to like lie for her basically. And I was just like, not that it had to do with accountability, but the fact is like how much pressure you used to put on your friends to kind of enable your behavior or whatever you had going on or whatever. That made me think on that. Because I don't know, I feel like sometimes we don't really put responsibility on we don't feel it that important for our friends to hold us accountable in those kind of situations, which she did. I wasn't pronouncing her name like Nilka. I was not pronouncing it like that.
What you was pronouncing it?
I think when I first see it, I was like, Nalika.
Because Nalika make more sense. I understand.
I said, that's so simple. That was how I was reading in my head. No, but what was saying?
The lying with regards to your friends holding you accountable.
Yeah, I feel like some people like really just think their friends they are to just like go through life versus like really hold them accountable and make them see things about life.
Yeah, but I think that is the case. And I don't know, I feel like with my friends when I was younger, maybe we all was like kind of stupid. Yeah. Just from a place of like, it's not even me putting pressure on you to enable. You just want to enable. Yeah. We in this together. But now I do see there was a trend or just a shift in like, okay, we do need to hold each other accountable because we all growing at the end of the day, but we also reaching that part of life where you can't be doing stupidness.
No, but she wise. Shima. I don't think I was that like holding people accountable at that age. No. Like it was never that serious to me. Like people could just exist how they wanted to exist. Your thing. I was very much like, that's your world, you living in it.
Yeah, I can't see nothing.
I don't know. I think it's at that age, only when things used to affect me personally. I feel like now I gotta call out the behavior. That part. It's only now that I'm older, it's like, okay, no. I think we should all help each other navigate what we're going through. Exactly. And ask the questions and just do what you gotta do. I don't know if I would like, I don't know.
But you don't think it's harder now to help each other navigate what we're going through just from a place of like all these buzzwords and all the conversations being so set in stone? Not per se set in stone, but so like struck. Like tight with regards to the whole thing about, oh yeah, if your friend is moving like this, they're not your friend. Or if a person's moving like this, they're toxic. We mentioned this before, but I feel like those conversations in themselves could be toxic. Because there is a level of like, I'm going to be so candid. We all have some toxicity in us just from a place of unlearned things, but also things we haven't addressed. Yeah. And I realized, at least especially with my last friendship, like fallout, that there's less and less room for that, which makes me feel like there's less and less room to grow with that. Because some friends are like, I don't need to hold them accountable because they know what they're doing. But sometimes you don't know what you're doing, essentially. Yeah. I feel like in some cases you have inklings of what you're doing, but let's say you just don't realize how detrimental it is or how it could affect other people around you. And I think that's the conversation that kind of needs to be had now, because I feel like people are scared to hold people accountable, but then also people are quick to cut people off because they're checking like, I shouldn't have to hold you accountable for these things.
But I think, in general, people like that, as even like with dating, like we don't give... Snip,
red
quick.
Flag. Let's go.
But really, we could get into that just now. But also like, I don't know, maybe I have a different experience because I guess my surroundings is like people from this age. Yeah. And it's like, it was also a process because if we never had like, as I say earlier in our friendships in that age, I never was calling people out for nothing really. It's until I come up here and it's like you realize and you becoming your own adult and you have your own morals and values and you realize, okay, people around you having different things. And even that was difficult to navigate. So it's like a lot of the friendships around me now is like we also have to go through the hurdle of like establishing, okay, now we calling each other out. And that was in itself hard sometimes. Yeah. Some friendships didn't make that cut. That part. But the ones that did now that's still in my life is like we had to grow and learn how to do that. So I can imagine now in this space now starting friendships now where it's like what you saying. It's like people quick to cut you off, especially if it's new or whatever, it would be hard. Yeah. But I think even when you have friendships that are it's still something you gotta go through and navigate. 100%. But if you have this mindset of like, nah, I out of here one time, that's when it becomes difficult. But we're gonna say relationships. So I really trying. Like I think like sorry. Like, it's so hard. But like you really gotta give people space. I don't know if red flags gonna be red flags. That part. But it's like, at what point though? I think we talked about this before though. But we need to reiterate because no, but it's like I'm really trying to have it in me to not skedaddle. I hear it. But it's like it is tough. Yeah. Especially when you feel like your flag just green. And not green. And not green from a place of like you have nothing wrong with you. But I nurture myself, like the plant versus that plant. That part. Let we not put emphasis on the plants. They don't know. They probably ain't even notice the plants, Haiti. But you get what I mean? Nice. They nerd. Yeah, if anyway. I come around looking like this and you coming through looking like yeah, bye. That's when you skedaddle. But if I could see you have potential to get like this. And that plant still got potential, man. Just a little water. Yeah. Some sun, because they need sunlight, man. Yeah, okay. We don't have much sunlight in here, guys, But I understand what you mean. But yeah, no. But then, when we talked about like this whole because we didn't get to address the Diddy situation yet. Again. I mean, not at the court case. The court case trial has actually started. And if your father, I know our fathers wouldn't, but if your father get convicted for what he getting, because you would be in court. In that court. But I find the lawyers, so weird. If your father been doing what he been doing for that whole time, wouldn't you know something? That's my thing. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of me that questions all of the situation from a place of like, I'm not questioning them being in court. Because for me, it's a case of maybe you did notice things. But like even like the first time the daughters was there, I realized they're not there anymore. No, because they started addressing some case. They started going in details about the parties and stuff like that. But like we knew that was going to happen from the jump. Yeah. So why was your two 18-year-old daughters there from the beginning? Because the lawyer probably said it would be good for the jury to see that there's a family support. There's always semantics. There's always the image. But then that makes me wonder, like, back to exposing a child to certain things. I don't think I would want... I guess they would have seen it on the internet anyways. Also, do you think a man like that who did all those heinous things cares maybe what his child is? Okay, let's maybe discuss it candidly. Because a lot of people on the internet trying to understand how what he do is worth those charges. So, like... The racketeering, trafficking. Like, I forget a word. A RICO. Yeah. Yeah. So which is basically like an organized crime. Yeah. And also the sex trafficking, as you say. But to me, it's like, I don't know if people understand that, like, one, they were trying to say if he used some of the money from Bad Boys Entertainment, it is. Mm-hmm. That's sowieso then a RICO, because then using the money from your business to fund people, women or men, to come over to do something, coerce them into doing something that they didn't want to do. And also just period, like even with like casting and stuff like that, because they was trying to say, I see some video recently where they was like, yeah, but why she still was brought to the stand was because she was part of the organizing it and at the time. And she would get the escorts and allow them to come, etc., etc. It's just the problem is though a lot of the money and stuff was paid cash. So it's like they don't have much trace of a lot of the things that are happening. And then even in the beginning when she first went to stand, her men was just there like, but she had enjoyed it, why she didn't leave and those kind of things. And I feel like at this point it's like people really don't grasp like what coercion is, especially if you meet somebody at the age of 19.
Exactly. But also they don't grasp the dynamics of abuse and what that comes with. Like I feel like, look, I wouldn't say I'm giving grace. I would say that cool. A lot of people don't realize things because they've never been in it or they've never become knowledgeable of it. But they see it just for black and white. Yeah, she was abused, but she stayed. They don't see the mental implications of abuse and how that could affect somebody, especially at her age of 19. Because that's when she met Diddy, essentially. Yeah. And then also to see how that develops as the years go on, but also as the abuse goes on. Because for me, I just had it where people were saying, oh yeah, but she stayed. But for me, that's not a point. Just from a place where you see that video that everybody in the mother have seen, and you're going to still use that as an argument. Because regardless if she stayed or not, this man did that. And he's capable of doing a lot because this was the only thing caught on camera. Imagine.
But also, you saw a video of her trying to leave.
Thank you.
So it's like, it goes to show that like she did try to leave.
She did.
Multiple times.
And he dragged her back by her hair.
Exactly. So then it's like, there's situations like that where the abuse is like, the chances of me leaving going to escalate the situation even worse is also a part that we need to put into consideration. But also like, even if you leave and you run away, or because you have this is a situation that's public and as a high profile
and Diddy's a powerful man.
But you have the situations where like, even if it's like you, let's say you're on an island, like you back home or whatever, where are you going? Like there's safe houses, etc., etc. But on
top of that, you don't want to live your life feeling like any day this person could show up.
Exactly. Like there's so much things you have to factor in with leaving. And it's just harder than you think. And even if you do make the steps to leave or whatever, like you have to face...
No, but high key, this case brought to light a lot of men who you have to be careful for. Because I'm going to be so real. Any man who at least knows a smidget of just what's going on and can still defend Diddy, I feel like you kind of show yourself in that moment. If you're going to be out here saying, oh yeah, she just doing it for the money, and not look at a bigger picture, I just feel like your moral compass is very, very misplaced.
Scotty Beam was like, let's stop getting upset. Just keep your eyes open. This is a time to assess the men around you and 100%. In the circle and just the ones on the internet who we should be like, should say F with, but who we should F with and not. Just based off of then that whole thing had went down. But it just made me think on like I remember a situation where there was like she had a friend and the friend also he also kind of, I don't know if something he do to friend. Can't remember. Anyway, but then the friend was just checking she skedaddled out to the friendship because she just like, I can't be around here.
Oh, he basically I think he beat up the friend or something.
So I think he did. Yeah, and he gave her money.
And then they pay her $30,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with those situations, it's just a case of like the friend checking like, you do this and you do this alone. Because she was done with it. I think he hit her in the head with something.
I think he did hit her, and then after she paid her, he paid her out, and then even the whole Cuddy thing. Yeah. I wanted to ask you because another take is that what's the difference between him just being a really freaky person and are we trying him? People think okay, but this court case is just about him being a freak, basically.
No, the court case is to get him for bigger things. I feel like this is just you know how they have the whole racketeering approach, where it's like you have somebody who has their puppets who's doing a bunch of stuff, but especially for the government, they want to get the big boy. Yeah, and Diddy essentially is the big boy in this case because he's had so many hands in different things that has happened and allegedly whatever, and now getting proven. And for them, is a case of there's people in jail for doing his dirty work. And the freak off is a factor of this case, but it's not, because he's not being tried for abuse. I feel like he should be tried for abuse, but they feel like that charge is minimal compared to racketeering and the whole RICO situation, the trafficking.
But he can't be tried for the Cassie abuse anymore because they done settle that in court. It's a financial thing. But like all the other ones and all the other women that came out, which basically explaining how he would like, I'm not going to, basically saying like, I ain't going to pay your rent no more or do this and this if you don't basically engage in this sexual act. That is sex trafficking. And I don't think people understand. And then it's back again to like, yeah, but then you just leave and go pay your own rent. But it's like, if this person will still come after you, whatever, and force you to get into a sexual encounter with how much people, because we don't know how much people buy these freak offs. That's just insane to me.
But it's also a case of hindsight. A lot of people looking this from outside, not even the window, the gate. Because you even had the woman who was his girlfriend at the time, and he paid for her house, but she also had a child. And it's just that case of like, there's other people involved too. Because with her, there was, at least in the case, I don't know which week it was, but they was questioning her. And they was telling her, oh, yeah, how much is a Bottega and whatnot, to kind of...
Oh, that's the Jane Doe.
Yeah, to paint the picture that, like, you know, you was getting treated by Diddy. So, you know, why you coming forward now? But my thing is, it just comes from a place of, like, for one, the house is what was most important to her. She didn't really care about the gifts, whatever. But that's also because she had a son. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people they're so quick to tell a person to leave. And I think... Even some women have it, and don't get me wrong, I feel like I was ignorant to it when I was younger. I had a friend who was getting abused, and I was like, why you don't just leave? But that's because I don't know the parameters of it. And I think that's also why I say, like, for the men too, if you think like that now, it is messed up, but it's a case of like realize what's beyond just what you seeing from outside the gate. And with all these cases that's going on, there's just a pattern. And my thing is, like, regardless of who got what from Diddy, he did these things. Yeah.
And I remember he had shoot a woman in the face in a club, and he didn't even go to jail for that because he had a really good lawyer at the time. I feel like all these things is very evident what kind of person he been. But I also see, I can't remember, I think it was AC Pod where it was like they realized, and he basically a soft boy. But like he did a very good job as trying to paint himself as a bad boy, if you get what I mean.
But maybe he painted himself so long that he became the canvas.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess they mean like you could be...
No, but high key.
Yeah, but I mean bad in the sense of like, they were saying you could be Suge Knight bad. Or I think he was like, they were trying to say he trying to portray himself as that kind of bad. Yeah. Meanwhile, he just, I can't see the words they use. But they'll be on YouTube using these words. Yeah. But anyway, like... pee hole. Yeah. Basically that. But just...
Sorry, that just sounds wild. But yeah,
but he basically that, but then a lot of times men like that's why they like situations like this and like... Yeah. It feeds what they don't have. And like they control that they don't have. Because he could have... There's people in the comments saying like they would have easily... I couldn't imagine he could have easily get like people with consent 100%. At these parties at Diddy. But you just wanted to like have control and the people that they don't want to be there.
But that's why...
tell them what to do.
That's why some... Okay, and it's not only men, and I know... But we talking about Diddy right now, so we got to address men. That's why some men scare me a lot because I feel like... For one, they put a lot of pressure on themselves with regards to who they are or whatever insecurity they're trying to address. But then in that same breath, they overcompensate for what they feel they may not have. And sometimes that overcompensation becomes scary just from a place of like, they overdo it because it feels like it's feeding what they feel like they don't have. But you just genuinely, I don't know, creating this whole new... from a place of now what you don't have has become like a monster. Yeah. I hope that made sense because in my head it was a bit jumbled up.
Yeah, I get what you mean though, in the sense of like, it's like, let's say you're a guy, you don't have a car, for example. This is just an example. Yeah. I don't have a car either, guys.
Yeah. But like, I'm not laughing at them.
No. Just but like, but then those are kind of guys that like they will stand up there and like really overcompensate in other ways, you know, like be flashing how they dress, and like whatever, the things they do. And then to me, it's like, but the deeper issue is that you bothered that you don't have a car. That part. But then it's like it's very evident.
It's so
that
evident.
Like you have an insecurity, but you're projecting it in other ways, and it's the way you talk, etc., etc. But I wasn't coming for the guys with no car.
No, not at all. And I mean, having no car is okay, and that's the thing. Having no car is okay. Yeah. But I feel like a lot, just for them, they see it as I'm lacking or I'm not good enough in this sense. And then it just becomes a thing of like, oh, my ego needs to make sure sure it's fed. So I go overcompensate by doing a bunch of things. Or my mouth gonna be loud.
Yeah.
But
you see, that's why the patriarchy was also not beneficial to y'all, because if it wasn't for the patriarchy, you wouldn't have to be all these things.
That part.
But that's y'all fault.
But side note,
yeah.
With regards to patriarchy, and I know we kind of really going on tangents here, but I was watching another TED, so I've been feeding on TED Talks, yeah. But in the same day, I also watched, I think it was a TikTok, of a girl who mentioned that when she looked at pre-colonialism, especially in Africa, of course, that the household was more fluid with regard to gender roles. There wasn't a set role for the man and a set role for the woman. And in the same day, there was a TED Talk where the man was speaking about when they did research in certain battlefields or areas where they had wars, but in the tribal communities, and they would find the bones of men and be like, oh yeah, these were the soldiers fighting. But then in the same areas, they would find the bones of women and be like, what are they doing here? Like maybe they just came to clean the swords. But they don't realize that a lot of just tribes, but also traditions and just norms back then had both women and men, for one in the battlefield, but for two in the household in a way that wasn't so separated.
Yeah.
And I feel like now, because everything's come so separated but so defined, we fit it in boxes that we maybe weren't meant to fit in. And that's why it's become an issue for everybody. And it's just, like you say, patriarchy, colonialism, and everything that came that just forced a nature that's not natural.
Like, I think a lot of people would like to think that because, I don't want to say it. Yeah, a lot of West Africans, like where we originally come from, like they could be very traditional now, don't get me wrong. But I really think back in the days, it was very different. And I forget what I was going to say, but I can just keep talking and I forget now what I was going to talk about.
You got
But, because this girl, she was talking about, like, she feel like her experience is so different because even though she Ghanaian, like her father was the one that used to cook. And this is literally early 1980s, 90s.
Yeah.
And it's like, whenever she tell people that, they're so shocked because it's like for a Ghanaian a man to be in the house cooking and cleaning when her mother used to be at work and stuff sometimes, and it would be all the way around if the father wasn't there. And it's like the fact that that's such a shock in a conversation, like that ain't normal to find nowadays. Like even nowadays when a man say you just cook, it's really like you just have to be like clutch your pearls. Because it's like, that's so unique.
Girl. I love a man that could cook.
Right?
Cheese on bread.
It's so unique.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Talking about unique. If you subscribe, that's so unique. Because I did say it at the beginning. But yeah, y'all, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, because we be having some in-depth conversations and you could join them. For the Spotify listeners, hit us with 5 stars now. Like, we appreciate you. And sometimes I just be neglecting Spotify. I just be like very focused on the YouTube. But we appreciate all of y'all across all platforms, Google Podcasts. And what's your song of the week?
I was wondering, like, you feel like you have a summer song this year? Like a song for...
I have one, but it's not on Spotify
But
yet.
I mean, that's not personal to you that you think everybody would consider a summer song? Because at first...
Laho.
Will that still be trending? Like,
yes.
Would I still feel like...
Go to the UK.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like that was really trending since Christmas.
Spring.
Yeah, man.
Nah, Laho ain't come out in December.
Man.
Laho came out 2025.
Really?
Yeah, girl. It was in my release radar this year. It was in...
It was winter, though.
Yeah? Oh, yeah. Probably like February.
Okay.
I didn't know when Laho come out. But,
No, but it had feel like it was there for Christmas.
Bye.
No, but I was just thinking, like, what would be the summer song this year?
I ain't catch a summer song. Like, I haven't heard a song where I check in VUCA, but it depends on what genre.
Damn, that came out the 13th of March, yeah.
Yeah.
But, no, anyway, I was just thinking about that.
What do you think would be a summer song?
I don't know. I was really thinking about it. I don't know if I have a song.
What's the time?
That's going to be all your song.
I feel like Boué is a proper summer song.
For us, yeah.
No, but yesterday we had some Netherlands.
No, but last Sunday they had Lente Cabinet.
Oh, I know.
Last Sunday they had Lente Cabinet and they have this DJ called Rosalie Music from Curacao. Staying at Lente Cabinet. It's a bull-ass like festival somewhere in North.
That sounds like a meeting with the government.
And he was playing Time to Grind and all of these like behaviour songs, and the whole crowd is going insane.
I think Bouillon is the summer song.
Yeah.
Bouillon is the summer song. As in like that genre.
That's the vibe.
Bouet, Time to Grind, Pocket Rocket. All of them, yeah, high key.
Okay.
Even Greatest Bend Over. Like that's soca, but still.
So tired of that song. But yes.
I know you put that on the playlist.
I know.
Nah, I ain't tired of it though. High key.
I am.
But anyways.
My song right now is Typer by Glorilla.
Is that the one where you say she started off crazy?
It's hard.
I ain't hear it. Mine is Che Che from Ashake and Young John. I ain't gonna lie, when I see them two names, I almost cried. Literally my top 2 Afro artists.
That can be a song for the song. For sure, probably.
Yeah, I think so.
What's the song on that's on Spotify?
It's called, it's gonna be my next song for my next.
Okay.
Cause at that point, it's gonna be on Spotify, but I can play it for you. It's Amapiano, but it's so good. It's like a mixture of the gum and Amapiano.
They say Cardi B coming up with a song because she kind of sampled it, and that also sounds like gonna be hard. But she's talking about being outside after her divorce.
Yeah, I ain't been listening to them though. Like,
what do you think about that though?
What,
like, because they're trying, but in general, they're like all the girls out there boot up again, like Tiana with Aaron Pierre. Somebody was like, Aaron Pierre, that's Tiana.
That part.
But also Cardi B and her new man.
Stefan.
Yeah,
Stefan, right?
I think so.
Yeah, he look cute, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bit of himself.
To like Offset. But I just like to see that the girls are bouncing back.
You're comparing him to Offset?
Yeah, I mean,
Offset look like AliExpress, he Amazon. High key. Offset is not like unattractive, but Stefan is attractive.
I guess.
He look like he don't have much problems.
I feel like they're kind of the same to me.
Now
I don't feel like one look better than the other. But that's my
okay, so if you had to choose,
because of how they be, probably. But I don't know how Stefan
no, but even if I had to go off of just attraction,
it would be Stefan
for sure.
But that's because I feel like at this
like
point,
Blink. Is it Blink from How to Train Your Dragon? What the name of the dragon? What the name of the dragon? How to, or what's the name of the dragon?
You comparing a man to a dragon?
But a dragon cute. Toothless. Oh, Lord.
Let me see the dragon.
Nah, because that's bad. No, but not... No, but not in a bad way. He just got a...
Do you think that is Stefan?
No, man. Yeah. But not like that. You know, it just popped in my head like... But he looked like the adolescent version of Toothless.
Toothless look like they don't have a face. Just
like that
eyes.
face, man. Anyways, he is fine. Moving on. But yeah, they boot up.
No, they just boot up, and I like to see that they like bouncing back. And they look good though.
I mean, I love that for them. Must be nice.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, no, we miss a lot of things. And somebody was pressing us to talk about the whole...
Sorry, guys.
That's barely a face, Jody. That's literally just serving eyes. If they had a category in ballroom called eyes, times across the board. There's no
I
face.
mean...
No.
Nah, still.
So, what was I going to say? Oh, I was going to talk about Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion. But I don't know. I feel like people are going so hard to prove that he's innocent, boy. Like, it's that deep.
At this point, I'm going to be so weird. I'm so over it. Just because I don't know what the hell happened. And at this point, I don't care. Yeah. And it sounds messed up. But I'm tired of the back and forth.
But also, I think people need to understand that he in jail because of possession. Like, the gun was his and he's not supposed to be having a firearm. Yeah. Who shoot it is the big debate of the century at this point. If you have Congress women trying to come in and like reopen the case, I didn't know it was that serious. I was wondering if she was one of the women from Quarantine Radio, because it was just, I don't mean not degrade woman like that, but like I didn't know it was that deep for people.
I don't know. For me, it's just I seen the whole thing about his bodyguard admitted that it was him who shot her, and then the video came out about her.
Friend. It was a friend that shoot, apparently.
Oh, and then the video came out about her saying, you know, are we going to go to jail? Like, I'm not shot. And then everybody took that around with it, which for me was annoying because it's a case of like, there's a lack of, context from a place of maybe she said that so they don't get in trouble. You know, a lot of stuff. So that's why with this whole thing, I'm over it. Especially because there's the side that backstory and there's the side that backs Meg. And both sides for me is like, are you just...
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not defending. I think we had sit out since old studio. Like, I'm not defending nobody if I wasn't there anymore.
Thank you.
But I also just generally don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, you do your thing. I mean, you shouldn't be out here shooting each other. But at the same time, I feel like America continues to show that it's not a real place. Where everything that goes on.
Do you really have a thing with America, no?
I do, but that's because a lot of BS comes out to that country. Don't get me wrong, BS comes from everywhere. But a level of BS, once you have Florida in front of something, you know, okay, this about to be a crazy story. But just in general, the mentality, because I've been there, and there are lovely people there. But at the same time, I've had too many debates with Americans on why America's better than the Netherlands. And I think that in itself is a crazy stance. Like, your kids gotta go to school with a bulletproof vest. Yeah, I mean, you debate with me in the comments. It's fine.
I mean, I went to school, I had a metal detector as well.
Yeah, but like, I just feel like there's a lot of cases of like, yeah.
So I don't know, I can't judge that.
I mean, but Haiti, we don't get shoot up in the Caribbean.
I mean, the thing is, no, but I mean, like...
Yeah, I take that back. And that's, okay, look, that's only one factor. But my grief with America is my grief with America. The mentality for me it's very, and it's not everybody. I won't generalize America. Like, I don't have something against all Americans. I just feel like a culture that's so, for one, focused on fattening its people, that it has things in place that doesn't really think about their well-being. A culture that profits off of people, like, getting injured and whatnot, so that they, like, kind of create systems that just don't accommodate that. But also just a culture that is very superficial. Not all, but what I've experienced is not something I could really mess with. And then you have Hollywood, which is just a scary place. Like, don't get me wrong, you have your level of Hollywood in the UK, you have it in the Netherlands, but I don't feel like we are at that caliber. We have our own stories. We have our mini Diddies or whatever. But I don't feel like that caliber is you wouldn't really have a seed grow to the level of the seed growing in America.
No, but I think because it originated there, like being popular, acting,
exactly.
It's gonna always be a bigger scale though, and I think that's why the money there.
But also the problems.
So, that too. But I do think that like there's a lot of geniusness in the country, because it's like a lot of things that we into and stuff that we do is like I give them props for that. But it's like,
100%.
you know, I even realize now, maybe it's a New York thing, that like a lot of them very, like, I wouldn't say eloquent in their words, but just how they would word things sometimes is just so, I don't know. I like how they talk sometimes.
I hear you.
But it depends on where in America.
For them.
Who, me?
As in just from a place of like, when I say not all, you speaking for the not all part. I mean, generally mean not all.
It is a wild place. But I mean, like, I was looking at, I can't remember what it was. But just like the fact that she had worded that way, I was just like, wow.
Good for you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just be captivated by when some of them speak and like how.
But you know, it's wild to be like, no, it's not wild. But to actually, I ain't gonna call that bare minimum.
What?
Like speaking proper.
I mean, okay. It's not about speaking proper, but I think it's just the
eloquence.
Not the eloquence, but it's just the fact that you even would think to word things that way. I typically mean that's a level of intelligence. But sure. I think it could be a New York thing because maybe they just have a better way
but the
of
books
like
that come
speaking
out
in
of
things.
America.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like even though I just trust the education system, sometimes there's still a level of their education system that I find better than the Dutch, in the sense of like I ain't talking about, especially with the English language.
Yeah,
but like,
cause ain't like 65% of them have literacy and the 35 don't.
Yeah, but
or
here ain't that better either.
illiterate.
Like children just not reading in the world.
Yeah.
Period. But I mean that like I don't like our system in the sense of that like we go to a specific level.
Yeah.
And you have to stay in that level in all subjects. I do like the fact that you could be good in maths though and then take a higher level of maths. Or maybe your English is not good and you take a lower level of English.
Yeah.
But you still get a diploma.
That costs your whole house.
What?
Whereas here probably
I'm talking about high
costs
school.
That's true.
Whereas like here, like for example, like a lot of my students, like all of them really good in English. So they should be, why I have to prepare them for exam that like the whole country doing. It's like the same. And all countries have that. You have a standard exam that you have to take.
Or like CXC.
Yeah, I mean, they are like the Dutch exam. But I mean, like, they could be doing way more in the classroom. We could be doing way more in the classroom. But it was like, we would have to change it from a governmental standpoint of like what a requirement is for them to reach. Because I could be doing the most in my classroom. But if at the end of the day, when they reach exam year, they still have to do a reading test.
Yeah.
It's like,
I hear you.
Why I hear teaching. But I was having a conversation this week at work that like, I do like the freedom in what they have and just the creative expressions and all the things that they just have in like schools.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't coming for the whole country. When I say these things, I genuinely not coming for the whole country, but I feel like schools, that's a funny topic to talk about, maybe just because of what occurs in the country. But I just come from a place of like seeing constantly what occurs there, and maybe it's the fact that media is dominant with regards to America.
Probably.
But it's also having spoken to Americans. Because for me, and I'm not talking about all of them, like, guys, I love y'all, some of y'all. But it's just a pattern of there's a mentality that is apparent there.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just not something I align with. Let me put it like that.
I hear it.
But I love that we able to... Because I always come in for them, so...
I mean, no, I don't read all of them. But,
same.
I just give them the props. Where it's due. But,
I mean, yeah.
But we have been really liking the Love Island of the USA versus the UK this summer.
Big facts.
Which I wanted to get into. First one, I see the first 2 episodes, I was just like, But...
I was on it, but die hard over here.
But I think because I guess I watched from 1 to 6. I watched the first 6 episodes right back behind each other. But I just first wanted to like highlight how beautiful. Like I know I've seen a lot of beautiful men in my life. But Shelly, I don't know what the hell her last name is.
And you know she's Haitian?
But that's the thing. Before if she even said that, I was like, she Haitian. Because she was actually from Florida. If you've been to Florida, most of the black people down there is Haitian.
Yeah. And
then to me, when you that beautiful, it's either you Haitian or Nigerian. Sorry. But like, just her skin and she's like a real life actual Barbie. And
her personality is gorgeous.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, you can tell she's quite wise. Yeah. And I love that about her because the advice she gives, but also just the way she carries herself.
Yeah. I was like, she a Pisces, and then I look up, she was a Virgo. I was like, usually when I get Pisces energy from people, they're usually Virgos or Pisces. I don't know why.
Big up, Kristen.
Yeah.
The silence, never mind. I think you up.
Whatever, but no, let's get into some of the things. Because I guess the depressing thing is how the internet's so divided on if Ace is toxic or not. Because some people feel like...
I think Ace is a man and a very good example of men today.
He wanting to be chased?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
then chasing when he feeling like, it ain't working. As in, my nonchalance and my tactic of not chasing is just backfiring.
I want to see how we're going to be now that he kind of vibing with the other girl now, if you're going to still be chasing Charlie. Because now you planned 3 dates back to back.
Exactly.
Because you thought that she was going to go. But I guess, what you find about him choosing Amaya?
I think it was stupid.
But the first conversation they had, you find the only thing I didn't mind was when the first conversation he had with Amaya. Okay, if you don't watch Love Island, we just completely spoiling things too. But like, they had a recoupling, and he been vibing with Shelly, and instead of choosing Shelly, he chose a girl that just come in the house that day, I think, or the day before.
Like 24 hours ago.
Yeah, and it's like, why? But then the first conversation he had with her was like, just so you know, I still going to go see other people. And I'm not touchy-feely, and I just don't. But at the same time, I get it, though.
I didn't, because you was touchy-feely with Shadi.
Because you like her.
I get that. But if a man come to you and say, this wouldn't be a scenario in real life. Say you on Love Island, and you just reach the villa, and you getting to know a guy, and he checking like, okay, we vibing so much so that I can couple up with you, instead of the girl who I been vibing with before you reach. But now when I couple up with you, you on your high, but I go knock you down a notch because I'm going to let you know, yeah, we coupled up, but I'm not affectionate and I'm seeing other people. Like, my options are very open. For me, he's valid in disclaiming that. Understandable. But you setting the tone for this whole dynamic, and it already shows that you are elsewhere. Because you are affectionate with Shelly. You are looking into like your connection, and you telling me that you're not an affectionate person. I can understand if you're not an affectionate person, but I would kind of be a bit taken aback by you saying that, but then you doing it with another girl. Why didn't you just couple up with her? That was how me. Amaya was literally like, you should have just chose her.
Yeah.
And I understand her the way she went about
her
it was definitely not
and
great.
I understand, but I didn't see it wrong for him to tell her that in that moment. Because to me, it's like you make the horrible choice of choosing her, but then it's like, do you then continue to act like?
I feel like the wrong came from the choice, so everything that came after was just
wrong. So, but then at the same time, we would have respected if he was there cuddling and kissing her up, but then still going and planning dates with Shelly. If you get what I mean. So to me, it's like...
I wouldn't have respected, but I would have expected from Love Island USA.
I mean, at that point, I would have really like be over him if he was there cuddling, kissing up with Amaya 100%. Every night and then waking up and planning his dates for Shelly. So it was like, at the same time, it was very clear what his decision was. It was effed up for Amaya.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm feeling bad for her, you know. But I just mean that like, at the same time, that is the one respectful thing he could do after choosing her.
It was
like if you know you're not feeling
it was
her,
dumb.
It was
mainly
period
from the
dumb.
decision.
Yeah, but I had respected though.
But I wouldn't respect it from a place of you should have never made the decision in the first place.
But if you don't make the decision, what do you do then?
Say that I made the wrong decision. I apologize, and just know I'm not going to pursue you.
But that's kind of what he was doing.
No.
He basically let her know, I'm open to other seeing people. I'm not touchy freely, so don't be touching and cuddling me up. Yeah.
But so in him saying that, what he essentially meant was, I don't know what I was thinking when I stood up there for the recoupling and I chose you. I wanted to choose the connection that I want to touchy-feely and I want to, call babe.
I want to know if he would be really touchy-feely with Shelly. 100%.
The first night he asked her to smell his shirt and he gave her a forehead kiss. Yes.
Yeah, is that touchy-feely? That's just a forehead
The man
kiss.
said, I don't like hugs, but you kissing somebody's forehead. You know how intimate a forehead kiss is?
Some people find hugging... Because I really...
100%, but
I don't know.
A forehead kiss, Haiti.
They actually know each other from like before.
No, yeah, for sure. But that was the first night.
I guess.
And that's my thing. That's the first night. And you touchy
He just stupid for not choosing her, period.
Thank you.
I get that. But I did I don't know. She just annoy me. So maybe that's my problem.
Amaya.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does. She's not very well emotionally driven.
No, but also just how she just talk. You just make me today. Don't say I love you and call me babe for real.
She said I love you?
She was saying that to like the other girls. Just like, love you, babe. Love you.
No, but all of them giving this fake. And that's another conversation in itself, which we gonna have the girl conversation. Because for me, there's different levels of girls that girls not realizing. Because I feel like Huda, with her whole, you're my sister, this is a sisterhood after a day, that's a bit scary. I don't know you like that. Like, I'm a bubbly person, don't get me wrong. And I could be like, oh my God. But there's levels to like actually getting close to another person, period.
Side note, because I watching it, I guess Instagram showed me her IG. And I had find her IG a couple months ago too. Because she do a lot of gym content. Damn. What?
Her body, huh?
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
Anyways, guys.
Yeah.
That was today's episode.
That was definitely today's episode. We want to thank Tamleo again because for one, her books are amazing. So if you haven't checked them out, please check them out, especially if you have kids, even if you have teenagers, because it's not all about you. It's actually I feel more geared towards teenagers. And definitely like, comment, subscribe. Check out our Instagram if you are not there. Give us 5 stars on Spotify, and we appreciate y'all very, very much. Yes. And stay cool for the summer.
And we'll see y'all next week.
Deuces, or the week after. Guys.